Good morning, everybody. That music means it's time for the MAP, the Mental Health and Addiction Podcast. Today's episode is called People Stepping Up, and we'll explain why that is the title in a minute. I'm Andy Bernstein, your moderator and host. We have, as always, a great show planned, and we're going to hear from one of my all-time favorites, Paulie, the Miracle Man Veneto, who's going to tell us about a mission he has called Paulie's Push, which we'll get into in a little bit. Before we kick it off, let's meet the team. Who, first of all, KPL, Kristen Perry Long. Who are you? Tell us about yourself.
Today, I'm still me, and I am a family wellness educator for Aware Recovery Care, which is an in-home addiction treatment program. We're a 52-week program that comes to where you live.
Are you there now?
I'm where I live right now.
I know.
Not forever.
I know. I'm kidding you.
Aren't you jealous? I'm in short sleeve.
I know. You're on location. You're on assignment. All right. Who else is joining us? Who are you, Willie?
Who are you? Guardians of the Galaxy, Defender of the Universe. Willie Drinkwater, educator for UMass Boston in the Addiction Counseling Education Program. And I also have a private practice where I work primarily with people with addiction and co-occurring disorders.
And you're a professor?
Yeah, I said that.
You did. Okay. You're an adjunct professor.
I'll talk a little slower. Adjunct professor.
What does a yellow light mean?
What does adjunct mean? Adjunct to what?
Adjunct means as needed, needed. And
so why not just per diem?
I'm not a tenured. Well,
okay.
I mean, basically, an adjunct is a per diem. Yeah, but
Mr. Drinkwater's opus. You're like opus? A teacher. The teacher, basically. Never mind.
Yeah. I mean, I've been per diem teaching the same courses for 12 years now. So, I mean, it's pretty solid.
At UMass Boston, and you were part of the Morning Big Mattress crew on
WBCN, the Rock of Boston, Charles Laquadera, Billy West, Joanne Fitzgerald, Cody, and the whole whacked out crew.
Eddie Gorodetsky.
Eddie Gorodetsky had left at that point. He went to New York and created a little show you may remember called 2.5 Men.
And then is now on now doing a show called Mom, which is about.
Yeah, he's the executive producer. I mean, he's the whole shebang there. Yeah, it's about a mother and daughter who both are, in recovery from their addiction issues, and it's hilarious. It has that same type of humor as 2.5 Men.
I saw it in LA.
I love it because it's. I love it because it's like real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, it's funny. They make it kind of light, but like when they're in their AA meetings and they're going through those life problems, I mean, they definitely put the upbeat spin on it, but it's real.
Yeah, it's referred to as a dramedy. It's dramatic and it's a comedy. It's like, it's like the old TV show MASH was the first one to really do it, where, it'd be the sarcastic, biting humor going the whole way through it. And then you would have this one poignant moment that would just suck the breath out of you, and Mom does that too, because there was an episode where the daughter got up and she was talking, doing her, her drug and drunkalog. And there was a guy in the audience that, a guy, at the meeting that had abused her years ago. And she was able to get up there and look right at him and, and say, when I don't allow myself to be verbally or physically abused anymore. And the guy got up and walked out of the room. It was just one of those moments where it sucked the breath out of you. It was like, wow,
It's a good show. But Eddie Gorodetsky, a Boston guy, and you know him.
Rhode Island, but Boston based with the radio. Yeah.
Got it. And I am Andy Bernstein. I am a media and guy who's been in the business for a long time. I created this show. Kristen Perry Long and Kimberly Walsh and I created this show back in December of 2019. And prior to that, I had another show about addiction. So it's a subject that I'm very passionate about, mental health and addiction. So, glad to be here.
And you're also a modifier. Yes, and you're also a modifier.
A big modifier.
I'd like to buy a vowel, please. Okay, yeah,
I don't know why it's pick on Andy day today.
Okay, so
no, you're the setup. You're the setup man.
We're not going to go into Wheel of Fortune, okay? Because you know where I am, right? Sunny in 75, where everybody,
Yeah.
on the schedule. Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
We're good.
So you've been going to dinner about 4:00 in the afternoon, Chris, and stuff.
The early bird,
Yeah.
God's waiting room. You're down in God's
Do you take
Yeah.
AARP? Yeah.
or entertainment coupons. All right.
Let me get my card out. Start taking your card out now.
Right. It says if I buy one entree, I get the other one at an equal greater value.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right.
Is there room for my walker at this table? Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
All right, stop it. All right. We have serious business to talk about.
Okay.
All right, People Stepping Up is the title of the show. And then we're going to get to your topic, Willie. But I want to just give a shout out to Trey Anastasio from the band Fish. He used his foundation called the Divided Sky Foundation to opening a nonprofit facility to help treat people from alcoholism and addiction. He purchased a house in Ludlow, Vermont, and he uses the funds raised to create he did it from his virtual residency at the Beacon Theater in New York. And he had fans involved, and they contributed 1.2 million during the event. So yeah, he started that, and he said substance use disorders affect people from all walks of life. And the problem is intimately linked with isolation, whether that's isolation due to the pandemic or for any other reason. And so he's been sober 14 years himself. And apparently Vermont ranks 11th in the country for overdoses. They have no COVID, but they have overdoses.
Well, it's because Vermont is really bad because they don't have any resources. And the other big thing is everything comes down from Canada. So
Right.
it's a very underprivileged when it comes to substance use. And like, so when I was, years ago, when I was going around and just trying to find and meet people in all the states, like methadone clinics, people have to drive like 30, 40, 50 minutes a day each way for a methadone clinic because there's only like maybe one or two or maybe three clinics. And this is a few years ago, so it could have changed. But like what barriers? There's so many barriers.
Yeah, and it's and weather too.
Yeah.
And don't forget the weather. What I love about this, and I talk about this all the time, here's the cool thing about what he's doing is he wants to provide multiple ways for people to enter and maintain recovery through individualized plans and programs. He's going to offer job training and workforce reintegration and provide education and certification in skills and trades. So, he said that I was extremely lucky to have access to care, and I know how important it is to be a part of the recovery community. And he's like, I'm grateful that we can help provide that opportunity for others. It's called the Divided Sky Foundation, and he's accepting donations. So I applaud him. I think that's great, using his platform, but also addressing job skills and things that, okay, well, now I'm sober, or now you're sober. What next? Right? How do I not face the same problems that I did before? And maybe it was money or lack of connection or purpose or whatever. So good stuff. Willie, you brought something to our attention regarding an article called "A Catalyst for Post-Pandemic Drug Addiction." Can you talk about it?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the, I mean, the longer we're in this pandemic and the shutdown and stuff too, I mean, we're seeing a lot of people, isolating. I mentioned in the past, dealing with clients now with what's referred to as existential anxiety, where all of a sudden they start, they're alone with their own thoughts so much that they start thinking about their mortality and, oh my God, how many more years do I have? Am I going to suddenly die? And this and that. And Generation Z is really getting affected by it, according to the article. 18 to 22-year-olds are really experiencing loneliness. And, it's okay to be alone so long as you don't feel lonely. Loneliness, leads into depression. People can end up with anxiety. And then, loneliness factor can drive people right down the road to suicide. So, I mean, it's and the biggest problem that I'm having now, and I'm sure that Chris can talk about it too. I mean, I'm getting, 3 to 5 referrals a week that I can't even touch, and in the beginning of the pandemic, I was referring them to clients that, had openings. But at this point in time, it's like most of my, referring to colleagues, all of my colleagues at this point that I was referring out to, they're full now too. So there's a real crunch out there, as far as not being able to get, therapy. So
what do you do about it? Because the article has, first of all, where did you find such article?
There's a publication online. It's called The Fix, and it's Addiction and Recovery News. And they have a lot of great articles. Like once in a while, I'll find a really interesting one and I'll post it onto LinkedIn, and then the numbers just go off the charts. Like people that are looking at them and stuff, at the articles that I post and stuff. Which by the way, if you want to keep your name out on LinkedIn, that's a great way to do it. Is you find an interesting article and you post it to all of LinkedIn and stuff.
You are the king of LinkedIn anyway. So I'm just kidding. It's dire mental health, a catalyst for post-pandemic addiction, and some of the things that they cover. And again, you can find it on thefix.com. But some of the things they cover is about creating strategies around it. So, they're saying that, some of the factors around this is biology, the environment, development, and loneliness is one of the biggest things. So, Chris, in your opinion, what can you do? How do you tackle loneliness? It's such a big problem. What do you think? How could you,
I think I think what's happening is now, and we've been saying this for a while, is, people are home and they're isolated and they sit behind a computer, right? And what do you get out of that? Right? Yeah, it's nice and it's funny and we can joke and we know each other, but when you're in early recovery, like that human connection is so important for recovery. It gives people purpose. You want to feel good, you want to look good, you want to have a conversation. 9 times out of 10 they share, you got a butt, you got a light. It creates conversation, it creates that. So what do we do about it? I don't know, because I know the world's starting to open up, and I think it's great that we're opening up. I just hope that we do it safely so that we don't have to shut down again, because if we have to shut down again, that's just going to be horrific. And I think the other big thing that's happening, and I don't know, Willie, if you're seeing this, is, as the world is starting to open back up and people are going back to work and stuff, the realization that their disease is more out of control than they ever thought, because now they're having to go into the office a few days a week, and, they can't take that drink or drug in between meetings. And they're going to work and they're starting to feel those withdrawal symptoms.
Yeah, it's been a year of relapse, that's for sure, and stuff. And especially, it was, we're going back to last year and stuff, when those first checks came out, if you weren't solid in your recovery, that money just flew out the window. The drug dealers were, they were extremely happy when those checks were coming out, because they were, sucking up so much of that money. It was crazy. If you were someone in early recovery and you had any reservation at all about continuing the recovery, stimulus check was just blew them up and stuff. Yeah. I've done so many referrals to detox and inpatient over the last year. Yeah, last year was probably the most referrals I did to detox and inpatient in my career so far, of the clients that I had.
Yeah, we do that too. We get people that are super acute, and they come out of detox.
I'm super acute.
Yeah, you're super cute.
Thank you.
That's because you're a modifier. Yeah.
Right.
Call back.
They're really, they've been in and out of detox, and you're putting somebody back into an environment that is not a healthy environment, because we all know if nothing changes, nothing changes. We're just stuck. All that's going to happen is that this wheel that we're on, it's just going to get a little bit bigger. And what
would be an interesting topic too for, a future show and stuff is, we know that mandated treatment can work for many people. Well, if we get people that keep going into detox, 2, 3, 4 times a month, couldn't we mandate them to treatment? I know the ACLU would probably be all over that in a heartbeat. You're taking away their freedom and their rights, but we as a society, we're paying not only financially, but we're paying emotionally, and we're paying mentally for these people that keep going back in over and over again. So, if mandated treatment works, then say you have, if you have go to detox 4 times within a year, then okay, the next step is when you need the detox again, it's mandated. You're going to be gone for 90 days, and stuff. But again, the civil libertarians, they would jump all over that, but
it'll never, unfortunately, we know that what works but it, unfortunately, it'll never happen. We can't, I mean, that's why we have Section 35 and, Section 12 in Massachusetts. But even those, what are they getting in Mass? What are they getting?
And when
they're getting workbooks,
and Section 35 is for 30 days when, Harvard's pointed out that you don't see significant drop in relapse rate till someone has 100 days of continuous treatment. But the most that we're willing to pay for is 30-day, which, however, we keep paying the 30-day over and over again. So, I mean, if we paid for the 100 initially, the 100 days of treatment, if that would cause fewer people needing to go into detox, wouldn't we actually be saving money? I mean,
right. You would think that that's what we want to be doing.
Let me pose a question. As people start to get back into, assuming everything goes according to plan and everybody's vaccinated, don't you see that we're going to have a big after effects? Because people are not, have been under lockdown for a long time.
Oh yeah, they could go wild. I mean, you could see everybody just saying, we're back again, we're alive.
What about depression though? Okay, now what? Now what? Now I've had to deal with my, almost being in lockdown, and being alone with my own thoughts and over a period of time. It's like now I'm re-entering. I can't look at the world the same. Can you? Yeah.
With Chris brought up a great point before too. So now you're going to start going into work, and if you were slipping at home over the course of the pandemic, so to speak, if you were drinking and drugging at home, just because you could do it, you could do your work on Zoom, and you could look, you could fake it more or less, insofar as. Yeah, fake it to make it. But yeah, I mean, so what's going to happen if you do go back into the office again? Although I know a lot of businesses now they're reevaluating how much time people really need to go into the office. I mean, I know we as therapists, I mean, a lot of therapists, friends and stuff, they're all saying, they've gotten really acclimated to doing the teletherapy. I mean, I was leaving Beverly 3-4 nights a week, 7:30, 8 o'clock at night, 8:30. And it's like, a lot of us are thinking in terms of we'll keep our offices, we'll do, new admissions, new people coming into our practice, that initial assessment we'll do in our office, but we'll do it in morning hours. And then, basically go in the office 2 or 3 days a week, not 4 or 5, just morning hours. And if you want therapy after, say, 2 in the afternoon, it's going to have to be teletherapy because, I want to be home, and stuff.
So I just think it's really interesting, and this is actually the only thing I could kind of compare it to in a sense is 9/11 in the sense that you're coming, people vacated cities, they got out, there was a lot of tragedy. It's like people stopped looking at the world the same way. It really impacted a lot of people. I just think it's going to have impacts where you start to question, what's it all about, Alfie? Right? Like what is for me?
And it's an unstable country right now at the present time. I mean, no one knows what's going to happen. I mean, the biggest thing that I'm anticipating is my wife being able to pick up her dual citizenship for Canada. It's like, I'm out of here. But anyway, no, I mean, I could do teletherapy from Nova Scotia and stuff because my clients are in Massachusetts. My license is in Massachusetts.
Your life changed after this, right? Paulie we're going to hear from our guest, but yeah. Let me close this thought. What was I going to say? I don't remember.
Life changing. I was talking about Nova Scotia.
Yeah, you were saying you've had an evaluation. You both have, kind of looking at life differently now. You look at that.
Of course. It's a no-brainer. How can you not?
Yeah, I mean, especially I'm on the back nine, as they say. You know, I mean, I'm 65. I know I'm at my midlife. I'll end up 130, but you know, yeah. I mean, I'm totally reevaluating things now and stuff. You know, I mean, I don't ever want to fully retire. I always told my wife I'm going to start drinking again as soon as I retire. And she goes, when are you going to retire? I said, I don't plan on retiring ever because I can always be teaching a few courses or seeing a few clients. So it doesn't make.
You're going to be that grumpy old smelly.
Gonna be Mel Brooks at 92, and I'm still gonna be doing my thing. You know,
whether you're homeless or you're a professor.
Yeah, yeah.
At Harvard, that's the big joke at Harvard. Is that a homeless person or is that a
Harvard professor?
Or a professor? All right, let's bring in Paulie Veneto, the Miracle Man, one of my all-time favorites. He's an interesting character. And he's got a really cool mission that he's doing right now. Speaking in 9/11, Mike, can we send him? Can we let him in?
Be coming in.
Here he is, coming in hot.
There he is, the man, the legend.
Where is he?
I see him.
I don't see him.
I do.
Hold on. Where's
I see him.
He's right in the middle of my screen.
Hey!
Baller.
There he is. What's going on, my brother?
I'm sitting there cooking a T-bone steak.
No, you're not. Are you?
I just finished my push, so now I'm going to have a T-bone steak, and I'm going back out to hit the pavement.
Yeah. So, all right. So you got a cool thing. First of all, you're one of the all-time greats. You are a miracle. Can you give us a little overview about yourself? You've been on our show before, but I want to hear about Paulie's push. But just give a little context before we dive into that.
What do you mean, a little?
Who are you? Give a little of your story.
Okay. Well, obviously, I'm in recovery. Well, I'm always coming apart at the seams that how things have happened in my life since I've got sober again. For almost 20 years after 9/11, that was something that internally tortured me. And even since I got sober, it just hasn't stopped to the fact that, I was determined to get my fellow crew members recognized for the heroics they did that day. You
were a flight attendant. You were a flight attendant. That's what I wanted you to kind of tell
okay. Yeah.
Give the context.
So I was a flight attendant for 5 airlines. The last airline I went to work for was United. It was just the way my career worked out. I'm grateful it did. I'd worked for charter airlines, and in that industry, everybody wants to work for a major. And so I was trained by 5 different airlines, which is very unusual. So I'm so fortunate that, for that experience. And what happened when I was with United, I went to work for United in 97, was based in Chicago. And then I transferred to Boston. And in 97, I transferred to Boston after 6 months out in Chicago. And I was very fortunate in being new at United. Boston was a small base. And to hold transcon flying, they call it, one flight across the country with a long layover on the West Coast, and then one flight back, that usually goes senior. You need to be with the company a lot of years. I was fortunate that I was able to hold that stuff pretty much right off the bat, and that type of flying. And I enjoyed that flying, transcon flying, because, I'd rollerblade out in LA on Venice Beach, and, things were, it was beautiful. My life, I was sober, sober 10 years. And so, as we all know what happened on 9/11, and that was my route, Boston to LA, flight 175. I just came in off it, and the plane was heading back to LA, and that's the second one, flight 175, they hit the towers. So I ended up relapsing. I was a physical flight attendant. I was known for it. I was always, for years on them charter flights, serving meals, I was bending over all the time. I always helped with bags, and they were telling me not to do it. But I was a physical guy. I played sports in high school and stuff, so it didn't bother me. But eventually, the wear and tear, I didn't realize what was happening. Hold on, I got to shut this steak off.
It's not medium rare anymore.
Okay, so what happened after 9/11? A doctor prescribed me a pain medication, which I thought was a muscle. I never heard of it. It was called Norco, and I never heard of Norco. If he said here's a Percocet, I would have known. Knew nothing about opiates. So what happened to me was I ended up eating those things, and right after 9/11. And so the trauma of that whole thing, little did I realize I was being numbed out. I wasn't getting the real effect of what happened that day. I was in shock, but I was, and all of a sudden I built up a tolerance. I was, it seemed, whatever he gave me seemed to work. I wasn't in pain or whatever. And as we all know in recovery, the progression of that. And it just was horrible. So I lasted 10 more years on the aircraft flying. And I don't want to go into any of that stuff because, there is a time for that to really get into that stuff. The stories and all that. That's really not important with me today because of what's going on in my life today. And because of you guys, Andy, my friend Kevin, Kelly, people in recovery, the message that's going to be because of what I've been able to. I've been fortunate to get sober again and to, like I'm ecstatic over all I wanted was the public and the crew members' families to understand the how what those crew members did that day under those circumstances. You can ask anybody in the military or anybody under those circumstances without being trained as combat fighters or whatever to have gone through what they went through with the viciousness that went on up there and to be able to make phone calls to tell us on the ground what was going on up there is mind-boggling. One guy, only flying for 10 months. And, flight attendant stabbed, master's throat slit, pilot's throat slit. And this kid had the whatever to make a call under those circumstances. There's plenty of those stories that went on up there. It's just mind-boggling to me, all the training I've had. I couldn't even imagine. But I felt like they never really were recognized. They were never recognized for what they did. Most flight attendants, when you think about it, majority of people, they serve you the drinks or whatever they do. But up at that altitude, you can't call a fire department. You can't call the police, whatever. You got sometimes 200 or 300 people on an airplane, and anything can happen at any moment or whatever, and you got to pull it together. Period. There's no question. We'll do it later, whatever. You got to, and sometimes these crew members don't know each other. They're from different cities and work different. But no matter what, you got to pull it together. So what happened that day was something that's never happened in the world. It was just unbelievable. So for me personally, every year the anniversary would come up, I'd be fueled with anger. I'd be fueled. It was burning me up. I don't know how I lasted 10 years. So I was coming up on the 10-year anniversary. And at this point, I'm on full-blown addiction. Flying, and I know I got to do something, the 10-year anniversary. I got to do something. And I started to try to organize a 10-year anniversary memorial concert at City Hall Plaza. And like a week before, 2 weeks before 9/11, the anniversary, the 10-year anniversary, my whole career, it all came crashing down. That's when, and I ended up in treatment. I was in treatment when that anniversary, I never got that thing set up on time. And I was in treatment. That started myself coming back into my, in the recovery. My career went down, I lost my career, the whole horror story of what addiction does to all of us. So what's happening today is, it's crazy. You know, it's just crazy to me that all I had to do was show up at this recovery thing. I just had to get myself there. And it's true what we all hear. Like, I would have never imagined in a million years that I would survived to be able to do what I'm going to be able to be doing. And with the help of people that came into my life because I'm sober, I want them recognized, and I'm able to do that today. I'm able to do something it's getting blown just the way I wanted to, without me having to do anything, but just get up in the morning, ask for help, and do the best I can today. And it's all happened. It's crazy. Like a few months back, what happened, a friend of mine's younger brother served in Afghanistan. And all of a sudden I get a box in the mail one day. I come home and I open it up and it's an American flag. Can I get it and show it to you so you can see it?
Yeah, sure. Turn over the steak while you're.
I get another one there. I'll cook. So this box shows up, right? And I pull this out, and it's American flag folded, right? So, and there's a note inside it. Paul, oh God, I get so emotional. Paul, I know how passionate you are about 9/11. I had this flag flown over Air Base Shindag, Afghanistan on September 11th, 2011, when I was deployed. And really would like you to have it. And no, we put it in their face. And then he says, there's a certified card underneath the cardboard. And it's, you know, it's, I don't know, a military thing, you know what I mean? I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's,
Yeah.
They flew it over the base. The air guys at the base or whatever, flew it over on purpose, just to throw it in the Afghan's face or whatever. I don't know. But all of a sudden, I was like, you know, this kid here, he's sure and he's giving me the flag. So anyways, that all of a sudden the light went on that it's time. And so, I don't know, I think I mentioned to Andy one time what I was planning on doing. It was in the back of my mind that.
I thought it was not real. I thought you were kidding.
Oh, no. I know that, you know, when the time came, things would come into place, and it's just unbelievable. So, you know, I could do something to get these guys recognized. I could put on a concert. I could do something. I could fit two brothers in bands. They offer, you know, all that stuff. But I know these crew members' families are all over the country. In local news, they might not see something. It's needed to be something national. It just did. So without me doing anything, I decided, you know, I'm going to push a beverage cart to New York City from Logan Airport, Boston, from the gate that they left out of. And, you know, I've been thinking about this for about 4 years. And I knew this is the time. So I started, in October, I started walking. I'm 62 years, I'll be 62 Monday. I'm no pro athlete, but I'll tell you, I know that if I do something, I can do something. I'm able to do something to do this with the 20th anniversary coming up. So I started in October, walking. Then I got sick for a week and a half. I stopped. And then I knew it. I told myself in March, when March comes, I'm kicking it in. And March 1st came, and I decided it's time to start pushing the beverage. So I go into the airport. I had to make a delivery at American about 2 or 3 months ago. And I asked the guys, you guys got a beverage cart laying around here? And he goes, no, we don't hold those things. Even if we had it, we couldn't give it to you. We couldn't let you take it off the property. So I said, all right, I'm pulling out of the American terminal area, and I see the catering company. I go over to the catering company, and I pull in, and there's a guy standing out front smoking, and I walk up to him. I said, I don't know who I should speak to, but who do I talk to about getting a beverage cart? He looks at me like I got 3 heads, right? And I said, he goes, what do you want a beverage cart for? And I said, well, I'm on a train to push it to New York for the 20th anniversary. He goes, what? He goes, come with me. You need a key card to get in. He brings me upstairs to the offices in this catering company. And he goes, here, wait right here. And I'm in the lobby, and I see him go through a door, and then the door opens. I hear him tell this guy, this flight attendant's going to, and all of a sudden he goes, hey, come in here. And I come walking in, he rolls the card over to me, he hands it to me. He goes, that's yours.
Oh, that's awesome.
I left there. I couldn't believe it. I know now the things are starting to come together. So, anyways, March 1st, I start pushing for the first time, and I'm at Pope John Paul Park on Saturday morning. Saturday morning I was pushing it, and then Sunday morning I'm pushing it. And as did you read that story the guy wrote? It was crazy. Yeah. Some guy sitting on a bench, and he says. He shrugged his shoulders as I'm going by. It sounds like, in other words, what the hell are you doing? You know what I mean? Right. So I finally stopped and took my headphone off, and I went to him real quick. I said, I'm training. I want to push this thing to New York for the. He goes, what? He jumps up. He goes, what is that thing? I said, it's a beverage cart. He goes, what is a beverage cart? I said, on an airplane, you don't find it there. And he starts circling around the thing. He couldn't believe it. He said, really? You're going to do all the way to New York? He goes, can I take a picture of you? I said, sure, I don't care. So he takes my picture. Off I go, I'm pushing, about 45 minutes later, I'm on my way back, and he comes walking towards me, right? And he says, stops me, and I take my headphones off. He goes, what's your name? He asked me my name. And he goes, you mind if I put this on social media? I said, I don't care. I asked him his name. So off I go. So then when I finish, I get in my car, and I'm trying to remember I'm thinking, what's this guy's name again? And I finally remembered his name, and I looked him up on Facebook, and oh my God, he already had this thing printed up. And all of a sudden my phone starts blowing up. And the Milton newspaper calls me. They want to do a story on it. And a lady in Vegas is contacting me. You know, how do I donate? And it was just so overwhelming. I couldn't believe it. The second day I pushed the cart. So long story short, Kelly got involved, and she got, when I started in October, me, Kelly, and Becca Peasy, who ran the marathon.
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's me, Kelly, and Becca started putting this thing together. And now, you know, I wanted, of course, a media coverage, but the way it turned out was beautiful. That this guy wrote this thing, it wasn't, you know, whatever. Because right off the bat, 1,000 people shared it, and who knows where it went. But I'm being contacted by people. So I'm getting overwhelmed. I'm worried about the logistics. So finally, it's all ironed out. And
Becca Peasy, let me just interrupt. Becca Peasy has run how many? 7 marathons on 7 continents?
7 marathons in 7 days in 7 continents. She's won it twice. She's from Belmont.
She's the greatest. Anyway.
So as of yesterday, I got the email from Kelly. Compel Pictures is going to do the whole thing, documentary about it from beginning to end, the whole web thing, building a website, everything, so it spreads it. It's crazy.
So what? How many miles is it?
Right at the beginning, I mapped it on Google Maps. I came up with 220, but we've gotten various numbers I have from different people. The Becca's company, my sister was gonna do it. Becca's gonna handle all that. She knows how to do it. You know, she's got the people that know how to. So I'm guaranteed there's not gonna be any, I'm running to a bridge where I can't go or something. It's all gonna be mapped out, right? And then I'll know the exact distance total. It's somewhere around 220, depending on the route. You know what I mean? So all that stuff, all those questions I'm asked all the time, and I can't answer them until this website's up. I'll answer them all, and the website should be up next week.
And so, what are you going to do? So you're going to try to. So can people donate? Like,
yeah,
is the money going to?
Well, this is my suggestion, and I hope it. I haven't had a problem. Like everything in my mind, it's working out, which I'm not fighting over. How, I want this thing all the way up until the day I come into ground zero to be about these crew members, really not about me. I don't want that. After the fact, then I don't care about telling my story, whatever. but I don't want any focus taken away from what this thing is about. It's about them. That's it. So, and it's, I understand it can be, I turn my life around to do this and maybe a little bit snippet, but I don't want anything to take away from what the focus really should be on, what these people did.
Yes.
So the funding for it, you have, each one of us have a reason why we give to certain charity, Cancer Society, muscular dystrophy. Every family has their own thing. So my idea was, why don't we do this? Anybody that wants to donate to help me to fund this thing, say Andy, you give $20 to a Cancer Society. Willie gives $100 to muscular dystrophy. Coca-Cola gives $200,000 for this. This one gives $200 for that. But when you donate, you put in what your foundation you want, whatever to go in. Once the event is paid off, whatever expenses are, the total sum of the money total gets equally distributed to every one of them, every one of those foundations. So it's not, it spreads even wider. And the reason I came up with that is because that's what I believe. First of all, these crew members, that's the type of people they were. They were the best people I ever worked with, flight attendants. They were just always giving. They were that type of people. And with what's going on in this world and country today, it's got to be spread. They want to spread the divisionness that's happened. That's my own thought about it. So I feel like the foundation should go to everybody. Well, because every family's got a need for what they want or feel. I don't want to just specifically, I've gotten so many suggestions. Why don't you just do the 9/11 fund? Why don't you just do this fund? And I understand that. I listen to it all, but I really believe it's got to spread. It's got to spread. So in other words, if you donate $20, you could end up getting $500 to your one because it's equally distributed.
Got it.
To everybody. So no matter how much you put in, so you just don't know. You know what I mean? And some of them puts $1 in. You know what I mean? Could get 500 going to that cause. You know what I mean?
Well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, what's the website address?
Well, that'll be up. It's right now. The tentative name is Paulie's Push. That'll be the name. I don't know what as a matter of fact, Monday is when I meet with him. And the timeline's all set. He's got it all set up when that goes up. And, he'll add to it whatever those people do. I know nothing about that shit. You know what I mean? All I want to focus on is being able to do this thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know how many miles I got to do a day. I don't want to start out and tell them, hey, listen, I need to take a nap. You know what I mean? Whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't care what I got to do. I will crawl to do this thing.
You're going to do it. You're going to do it.
Well, I'll do it. It's like a perfect storm. The whole thing happened. It's a perfect storm. So to go into the recovery part, so this guy wants to do a documentary, he says, and, about the whole thing. That's when the recovery is going to come in. A documentary to go to Sundance next year. So I don't know anything about that. I don't care about that. I don't care. Just get me through this and do what the frig you want as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just let me just keep the vision on my vision of what it should be about. So I'm just excited that it's even happening, that people are getting involved and doing that stuff. You know what I mean?
I love it. I love it. It's getting at Chris. Go ahead.
How do we get involved, Polly? Besides donating, how can we help you?
Well, I think on the website that'll be. I know that there's so many logistics with it. They'll have to. Right now, there'll have to be a pace car, which is probably going to be an RV. I got a friend that volunteered to do that. So there's a bathroom in it or whatever. You know what I mean? So once the map is up of where I'm going, I've already been contacted by people in different states. Where you going to be on this day? We want to walk with you. And all that stuff will fall into place once that website's up there. People who know the information, this is helpful to be able to tell you guys so you can tell other people, you know what I mean? And that's right now. Once that website, because my phone doesn't stop. Like tomorrow I get the newspaper lady from Milton and I'm overwhelmed. I just don't want to drink today, you know what I mean? I just want to walk, I just want to eat my steak, to be honest with you. But so, it's a gift of sobriety. I never thought I would be able to do what really is important in my life. It's not the monkey off my back. It's I believe that this was supposed to happen the way it's supposed to happen. I just believe it was supposed to, and you know something? Since I've been sober again, this is just the icing on the cake. There's been all along the way, there's a lot of those stories, but it's the ultimate to me. So I know that getting sober again in late 50s is a message to somebody that's sitting in a detox now or in a jail cell after relapse. I know that, but we know that, you know what I mean? We know that in recovery. But the rest of the world right now, I want them to know about these crew members. That's all I want, and I know that's important. And I'm just grateful that I'm able to finally, because I stayed sober at the end of time, to do this.
Well, the on that flight was Mark Bavis.
Yeah.
Bavis Bavis, who was a scout for the LA Kings, as well as Ace Bailey, who was also a scout, and both of their organizations actually had events this year, and they had to cancel both of them, and last year. So they should be, so they were both on that flight. So,
I met the Bavis family last year and the year before at the 9/11 Memorial in Boston, and it was pretty moving because they wanted to hear a lot from me, and I was, it was almost tough because some of the sisters were like, wow, they didn't all these years, and I didn't know if it was appropriate from not that I know, but I knew some stuff that that went on, and I mean, this is from what I've heard, and from different people through the years in the industry, while I was flying, and I don't know, what condition I was under when I heard that stuff. There's a lot of stuff that I heard that I even questioned, was that what I heard? Because I wasn't under the right mind. But I know that if you look at Flight 175, it's churning and almost misses the building. And that's because they were trying to take that cockpit back. They were fighting at the cockpit door, trying to get the cockpit back. They were in there fighting. So a lot of that really wasn't publicized. But if you look at the plane, you see it banking. It was just a horror show up there. Once whatever. I don't like to get into it, but so there's stuff like that. I don't know.
The other thing I wanted to say is, I know a couple of years ago you actually headed down to 9/11. It was your first time back there.
Yeah.
And was that a part of the reason that you can do this now, is because you kind of had that opportunity to, some healing for you when you were down there, have a cathartic, being very cathartic for you? Did that allow you to move forward with this project? I think had you not been able to do that, would you be able to do this today?
That was just part of my recovery. That was part of my early recovery. That's, as a matter of fact, I'll be 6 years sober on 9/11 when I pushed that card in there. 9/11, I'll be 6 years sober. That's what my anniversary is.
Okay.
So,
Is it your goal to arrive on 9/11?
On 9/11, I'm going to come in there on 9/11. So,
that's awesome.
It's and things have changed. It's like developing like out of control, which is a good thing, But it's, for me, I'm getting overwhelmed with it, and now that this guy is on board, I don't have to worry about all that technical stuff and all that, because my mind was filled with it. I got to talk to JetBlue to let me leave off that gate, C-19. That's where United 75 left. So Massport and all that stuff. But Becker's he's got all those contacts. He's going to handle that. You don't worry about it. They'll because you got to go through the tunnel and come out of the airport. All that stuff. It was just, my head was just spinning. So, it really is. It's really going to be I think it's a good thing for everybody. It really is. It's if you read some of the stuff people wrote on that, what that guy posted. If you go on his page, it's amazing. I'm glad it's an uplifting story. I'm glad it is. But I still want what's that?
We need that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think because everybody, no matter who you are, was affected by this thing. And even people that are 20 years old that was just born when it happened. Their parents were affected by it, whatever. It's just, so at this time, I think it'll be something, hopefully everybody gets something out of it. You know what I mean? I just know that I'm just grateful that I'm able to, and of course it's all because I'm sober. And no question about that.
You're getting out of, you're doing something for somebody else. It's a good service work. It's great. We're pulling for you, my friend.
Yeah, I know that. I really appreciate it. Andy, anytime you ask me, or anybody asks me, that's what I was taught years ago. You always have your hand out with somebody, whatever, and you've always done that for me. It's just, that's how this thing works. I'm just so grateful. But I'm so, of course, in my mind, can I do this thing?
You can do it.
You're
a miracle.
Oh yeah, I've already kicked it up more than I thought I would. You know what I mean? So, look at this. I get
your Facebook page. The people who want to.
You see this thing?
Oh wow.
Yeah.
This is a training schedule someone made for me. That's crazy.
Hey, Polly, do you have somebody painting your cart for you?
See, that's another question. So people have offered to do different and that's why I'm grateful that I get the full say in it, and I appreciate it. I listen to everybody what they want to say, but I've come down with I don't want this. I don't want it to be some big la-dee-dee cart go, you know what I mean, with painting and that. I want it basic. What the point is, so tentatively my idea is I'm going to have a set of flight attendant wings, big wings on the side of the cart. Above it will be United and American emblems, and below will be the 4 flight numbers and when they hit the towers in the Shanksville or whatever. That's it. So if the beverage cart is the whole idea. I mean, of course, I've heard, why don't you put their pictures on there? Why don't you do this? No.
American flag is what I was thinking with the towers, with all that information, the wavy flag, but that's just me.
Yeah, it's just, I want it basic. People, it's just there were 25 flight attendants. There were 8 pilots. And there were, I could go on and on and on. There were a couple of customer service agents for United on board. I don't want to leave anybody out.
Bob Sweeney from the Bruins, his sister-in-law, I guess, was on there.
Yeah, she was on American, right?
Yeah, from the Bruins. He played for the Bruins. So
matter of fact, that skate thing with Kevin,
I
was talking to him about. I didn't know that. I couldn't believe it. While I was on the 8th skate with him, he told me.
It's crazy. So, all right. Well, thank you very much for coming on at such short.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime. You know that.
Short notice, and we'll
whatever you can do to.
Of course.
Just spread it out or whatever.
I know that. Once we get the website, we will. We'll get it out there, and we'll try to help any way we can.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Yeah,
Paulie,
good to see you, Paulie.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you too, Willie. I'm gonna go eat my steak. Do you mind?
No, please go. Goodbye.
Must be well done at this point. Is it well done?
It's rubber.
Go eat the steak. It's like shoe leather, right? All right. Goodbye.
All right. See you later.
See you, Paul.
All right, Paul. Bye-bye.
All right. Well, there you go. That's our show for.
Wow.
Is he not the best?
That would be fun to watch.
So in our old radio show, he came in one day, and he was wearing he went and changed, and he put a suit on, and he put a pink suit on. Do you remember that?
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Oh, you're there.
I took my screen off, so I don't want to be embarrassed with this little steak.
All right. Anyway, that's our show for the week. Thanks to Mike Weber at Mission Control, who deals with our crazy bunch every week, and we really appreciate all his hard work and helping us keep our little program together here. And
I'm gonna make you a T-shirt, Andy, that says "The Modifier."
Love that. You've been thinking about that the whole show.
I have, the Modifier.
I know.
There's the equalizer, and then there's Andy, the modifier.
The
The
modifier.
modifier.
The modifier.
Be modified by.
Yeah, Paulie.
I meant to tell you, on my Facebook page, you'll see that somebody put up the last time I was on your show, and they put the whole thing on. They clicked it on and said, "That's my father's friend," and I couldn't believe it. If when I posted what the guy put, people wrote some stuff, and one of my friend's daughters saw it, and so she posted the show up.
Oh, good.
Oh, cool.
I like that. Please post it, and we're behind you, and we're gonna track your progress as we wrap up our 62nd episode.
Yeah.
Crazy, right? All right. Well, that's our show for the week. Let's strike up the band.
Is it time to do my dance?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait,
Please
wait
do your
for
dance.
it. Wait for it.
Okay, I will.
There it is. All right. All right. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye, you guys. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend. See you
Have a
next
great weekend, everybody.
Bye.